Hello fellow modelers, my name is Mike and my channel is Not Right. It's Not Right. And I'm here today to do a short video to show you a test that I did on how to make a decal that has white in it on clear decal paper. Now obviously you can buy white back decal paper and not have this issue, but if you don't have any around, or you can't get it, or you can't afford it, or you just want to try this method, I'll show you what I did. So the first thing you have to have is a need for a decal that has some white in it. Typically for me, this involves something like a star and bar, like that. And the issue here was this was not the size that I needed. It was a little bit off. So there's two ways that you can deal with the fact that you don't have the decal graphic to begin with. You can scan that and import that into a graphics program and scale it, or you can go online and get a graphic of a star and bar. You could even pull one off of a photograph, and you could use any Adobe, GIMP, Inkscape, and Inkscape, and then you can scale and manipulate the colors for the decal that you want to make. The next thing that I do after I have that is I do a test print on a plain sheet of typing paper. And I want to see how well the colors and the size come out. You know, measure it and look at the colors and adjust as necessary and reprint if necessary. And when you're done, you're going to have something that looks like this on a piece of typing paper. That didn't come out very good, so it needed another test. Now, once you get your decal looking the way you want, size the way you want, the next thing you got to do is have your piece of clear decal paper that's larger than the decal that you want. Like that. And then what you do is you get your airbrush. I use this one. I have several, but I use this one. It's a Batcher 105 Patriot. It's got the 0.5 needle in it. 0.3 would probably work better for this next step, or smaller. And I went and got some of this magical stuff. It's ink. And I put some in the cup, and I sprayed my decal paper. I think I put on 4 light coats in order to get the opacity. I wanted full opacity. So after you have this sprayed white, I believe I let mine dry for 72 hours. I want that dry, no ifs, ands, or buts. Maybe it would work quicker, but I was concerned using an inkjet printer, putting ink on ink that wasn't thoroughly dry, that they would blend. So I waited 72 hours. So the next thing that I did was, wherever that test print was, wherever that happened to be on your typing paper, I taped this over it with a little cellophane tape, scotch tape, whatever you call it. And I tape it secure all the way around. because I don't want, if this paper should reverse a little bit in the printer, which some printers do, they'll make a pass and then they'll reverse and make another pass. If that happens and you don't have to tape it all the way around, your printer could lift this up and fold it and jam the printer. So I tape it all the way around, put it back in the printer, and print the same image. Then I cut the decal paper away from the typing paper, and I would have a printed image. Now I let that sit for about 48 hours. The next step is you want to seal this with your decal on it, your decal that you just printed. All right. If you don't seal that, and I just saw this morning an issue where an individual was printing out his decals and putting them in the water, and the ink melted. That's what it does. So I have 4 products here to show you. This was the first one I ever tried, and it works great. It's hard to get. It's Tester's decal bonder. I really think this is the best, but it's very expensive. Or you can use any other clear. And I'm just going to show you 3 that I have here that'll work. This is Createx matte clear. What's the number on this one? 4052. They also have a gloss and a satin. You could use those. Krylon. You can use that. And you can use Rust-Oleums. Now, there is an issue with this. You see the 2X? They're not kidding. It puts out a lot of clear, and I believe, I don't know this for absolute certain, that it makes the decals a little on the thick side, and I've had trouble covering the edges with the finish clear that I put on the model when I use that. So I can't say for certain that it's because of that particular brand. It does work. It does seal a decal, and then they come off fantastic. They go on just fine. Oh, another problem I've had when I use a 2X clear, they don't sit down too well. I think you've got so much material on there that I use Solvaset. This bottle is probably 25 years old, and it's still 1/3 full. And I make my share of models. I usually make about a model a month. So when you use that Rust-Oleum too, it does do a good job, and I'm not blaming the product for certain. It could be something else that I haven't figured out yet, but they do not lay down well, and they do not settle well when I put Solvaset on them. Now maybe Microsol would do a better job. I don't know, but I'm just telling you that's what I had to deal with. So now you have a finished decal with white in it that was printed on clear decal paper, and it's sealed. So the next thing you have to do is you have to cut that decal as close to the edges as you can get. You can leave a little, but if you leave a little and you've used this white ink, anything outside of your decal is going to be white, and it's going to come off your decal paper and go onto your model. So for that reason, you might want to print your decals like a millimeter oversized or less, a 1/2 mil, and then you actually cut through the outer color instead of cutting around the edge, and that way there's no white showing. So this I'm going to show you next the finished product on a just a spare piece of kit that I had laying around. And this kit is not painted, and it is white, which is a mistake on my part, because you're going to say, well, how can I tell that that's white? Well, I guess you have to take my word for it, because I'm not going to redo this. But this is just a little drop tank, and there is no solvaset on this. It sat down perfect, even over this seam line right here. I don't know if you can see that seam line. But if you'll take my word for it, that is a white color on clear decal sheet. And I think it worked out pretty good. Now, what the errors here is, you see the blue? That's a printer error. That has nothing to do with this technique. The bottom looks fine. The surround on the bar looks fine, but the blue right here, and I really think that's a printer issue. It has nothing to do with this technique. So that concludes this video. If you ever want to try it, this is Bombay ink. I'm sure any ink would work. Come out of the airbrush real fine and cleaned up real easy. I think this technique worked out real well. So if you decide to try it, maybe let me know. Thanks for watching. See you later.